So good evening, and as promised, I'm going to do another episode. The last episode was about be still, and listening to letting God kind of take over, and what that means in that time period of being still, trusting the process. And so this episode, I think I mentioned before in the last one that I was going to talk about this other topic within that book, the same book that I'm always talking about, 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think by Brianna Wiest. And one of one of the chapters is called 16 Reasons Why You Still Don't Have the Love You Want. And so I'm going to go through those because it just seemed like an interesting chapter to me, and because it's something that I feel like I've talked a little bit more about as far as like my love life, love in general, and dating and stuff like that, and the obstacles that come with it. So I figured we could go through. I haven't read them yet, but I figured it'd be interesting to go through them and see what her take is on this. So the first reason it says is you want someone else to do the work of unearthing, creating, activating, and then convincing you of the love in your life. You want someone else to do what you were taught that you couldn't do for yourself. Every time you think, wish, imagine, or hope for someone else to give you something, dream of the day when they will. Belabor and obsess why they aren't. Realize that this thing is what you are not giving yourself. So, coming in heavy. First of all, this is so true. And I think that when we take a step back and think about, it's funny because when I go and scroll on TikTok, you see a lot of like love yourself, and that's going to attract the person. And like, even I feel like I've talked about that. I've said those things too, saying like, you have to love yourself first. And, I think you do need to love yourself, but you don't necessarily, I guess, need to love yourself first in order to receive love, because there are people out there that I'm sure that that are in love and stuff like that, but they don't love themselves first or whatever. But I think what it's saying is, instead of when we want something externally, sometimes maybe that's like our subconscious saying that that's something that we need internally, and that's something that we have to work on. And I believe that when you do work on it, and you when you recognize that in yourself, then you are able to, I feel like you're able to change your focus, and you're not focused on, when is this person coming, or when is this gonna happen in my life, but more so like, okay, it's gonna happen in my life. I don't know when, but in the meantime, how I look at it is like, in the meantime, I'm working on myself, not just for the appearance of this person, but for myself, because you're gonna kick yourself if the person that's for you comes along and you're not your best version of yourself, and then you're not able to keep them intrigued, or they're not gonna want to be there. Because it's funny, I was listening to a podcast this morning while I was getting ready for work, and the guy on there, he was saying how healthy people, like healed, healthy people, when it comes to love, they're not attracted to broken people. Because for one, when it's coming from a mindset of, I've done so much work to get here, meaning like to be healed and be healthy and open for love again, that why would I sabotage that or potentially bring myself backwards by entertaining someone who's clearly not working on themselves, healing themselves, and is broken. And I think that's such a simple thing but sometimes it's a lot of times that we don't think about it like that, right? Because sometimes I think that, I know I experienced this myself probably, where I've been trying to heal myself, and maybe I'm not fully healed, but I'm better. And then like you come across someone who is, you get to know them and you see that, oh damn, like this they're not healed, or they got a lot going on, right? But you want to help them. And I guess what the guy was saying is like, if you're still in that space of like, well, let me help them, or I can love them into loving themselves, or I can love them to be better, then you're not fully healed yourself. And that means that maybe the interaction with them has opened a wound for you. And instead of healing your own wound, you're trying to heal their wounds to make you feel better about yourself and distract you from the fact that you're not ready, but this person isn't right for you. If that makes sense. So yeah, number one was definitely, that makes sense. Number two, historically, it has not looked the way you thought it would. And that's because it never looks the way we think it will, or comes the way we think it should. When we hold an idea of what love should look like, we attach to something that often just quells an insecurity, saves us from a reality, or helps us prove ourselves to someone else. Love never looks the way we think it will, because it's not supposed to look any certain way. Because the look of it won't actually give us the experience of it, but the pursuit of that will distract us from actually finding something genuine. They always say that, that it's never going to be the person that you think it's going to be. They're not going to look the way you think it is. And even though like I do believe in manifesting and writing out the details of the type of person that you want, and for me, when I do that, I definitely write down like physical attributes, because there's just certain things that I just like in a man, and that would be helpful for me. But at the same time, just being open to like, okay, maybe this person will have like 6 out of the 10, 20, whatever physical attributes or attributes that you want in a partner, right? And being okay with that, because that's why a lot of times you'll see they say you can write it down like what you want, but have your non-negotiables, right? And I feel like that's what that's kind of saying, is like, as long as you stick with your non-negotiables, but you're still being open to the idea that the person that is for you might not look exactly what you envision in your head, and the way that you guys fall in love or meet or win, and your story might not necessarily match with what you have in your head. But as long as you're open to it, then you can be receptive of it, and as long as it's something that's genuine. So number 3, you think that love is just a good feeling, when love is really a consistent state of being in communion with body, mind, and soul. It is a daily commitment to learn what it means to love someone else in small, practical, mindful ways. You can be more or less attracted to someone, more or less compatible, but choosing to love and appreciate someone regardless of those variables is a constant that you can choose, and it's the belief that you can't, because love must give you what you cannot give yourself. That leads to so many breakups, divorces, etc. All right, so basically what it's saying is like, and I've heard this before also, like, love is not just a good feeling, and you have to choose to love, right? Because I used to think that wasn't true until I experienced being in love, and then also experienced heartbreak, and how I think partially a big part of it, of being in love, is a choice. Like, you're choosing to be in love, because you are, whether it be consciously saying like, oh, I'm vulnerable, I'm open, and I'm emotionally available, and I meet this person and we connect, and now I'm telling them, I'm just sharing my heart with them, or it kind of hits you by surprise, and you're like, oh, actually, all right, I kind of like this person, and like I'm enjoying their company, and like they make me feel good, and I'm liking this. And then like you decide to one day, or you start to feel the feelings more, and you're like, all right, I love this person, I'm in love. I think that is a choice, it's also a choice to continue to do so. And a lot of the times when people break up or get divorced or just end the relationship, that's a choice as well, right? I don't think you just fall out of love. I think that you stop choosing to love. you stop choosing to put in the effort, and you stop choosing to choose that person, whether it be because you are distracted with other people or distracted with other things that you're choosing to focus on and eventually love, whether it be your career or, I don't know, whatever, something else that you are focusing on. That's a choice. So I definitely agree that it is a daily commitment to do that, and it's not always a good feeling, but it has to be consistent. Consistency is the key, because if you think about it, when you want something, you're consistent with it. If you really love having something in your life, you're consistent to make sure that it stays there. So number 4, you are unaware of the fact that love is nothing but an enhancement. It magnifies and brings clarity to whatever is most present in your life. So if the things that are most present are self-doubt, lostness, insecurity, etc., you will only have more and more of that. Love is not your life. It is the avenue through which you share your life and more palpably see yourself. I like that it says love is the avenue through which you share your life. Because if you think about it, it really does. Like, even if you meet someone and you guys connect really well, you're dating, even if that person's not for you, the relationship itself, at least in my experience, has always been that there have been guys that I've talked to, dated, whatever, and it didn't work out. And even if it didn't work out, like, it definitely, my interactions with them and my conversations and just the relationship itself magnified certain things within myself that I needed to work on, or to just brought light to things within myself, that I needed to work on. For me, it's definitely like trust and trust and being emotionally available. I think that within the past couple of people that I've talked to and stuff, a lot of the times I was in denial and putting it on them and saying that they weren't emotionally available. And a lot of times, and I start to see, like, on different social media things and stuff, and just readings, like, you attract what you are. And like, I was like, kind of in denial, operating an ego, saying like, no, I am emotionally available. It's the other person that's not. But then I started to realize that, like, I wasn't emotionally available myself, because I wasn't emotionally available in the sense of, like, I was open to being emotional, but I would never be the first person to do it. Like, I was always, after the one time that I ever did that and it didn't work out, I was like, I'm not doing that. I will let you open up first and you can spill, and then I'll go after that. Like, I'm gonna let you go first, make sure the coast is clear, and then I'll go. And that's not always good, because usually if you operate that way, then you're attracting people who are doing the same thing. And then you're in this cycle of, well, they're not opening it up and I'm not opening up, but that's really what I want, and that's subconsciously what they want too. So now we're in this cycle where we are doing everything surface based, and we're not really giving each other what we want. But we're too scared to try. So, love is an enhancement, and it's supposed to magnify the good and the bad qualities of you, but it's also supposed to help you improve. So, you have to operate in love and operate in confidence and operate in happiness and exude that within yourself and find that within yourself, so that you are attracting someone who can enhance it. Because like it's saying, if you are viewing yourself in self-doubt and lostness and insecurity, you're just going to find people who complement that and make it worse. Number 5, you believe that love will blossom when the circumstances are correct, as though you must place two reactive chemicals together and assume that an instantaneous physical emotional response should equate to lifelong sincere love. Hormones are reactive. Expectations are reactive. Love is cultivated from and because of those things, but more effectively because of a mutual appreciation and respect for one another. So basically it's saying that you can't wait for love to be perfect or the circumstances to be perfect before you can be in love. It has to just be, we choose to be in love again. You can't just wait for everything to be perfect. And that's one of the reasons why you don't have the love that you want, because you're waiting for it to blossom and be this like fairy tale thing when really it is what it is. Number 6, you are caught up in trying to make yourself objectively appealing to the opposite or same sex, as opposed to really finding who you are and then attracting someone who appreciates that person too. I am so saddened by how many young girls and boys, for that matter, are instructed to present themselves in a certain way, because that's just what's attractive. It's so silly to think generalizing what every person likes is helpful, because more insidiously, it keeps you trapped in avoidance of your true self, as you assume that person isn't good enough to elicit the approval of the masses. And then we sit around crying and cursing the stars over why we can't find somebody who loves us for who we really are. This is facts, because a lot of the time, society, if you are trying to follow what society says and think you have to be what society wants, then you aren't really, first of all, you're not being yourself. And if you're not being yourself, then you're not going to attract the right person, because the person for you is going to be attracted to you, not attracted to who you are pretending to be to attract people. So the sooner you're able to be you and love you and stand on that, and you have to have the mindset of like, I'm me, this is how I like to, whether it be how you like to dress, how you like to carry yourself, and be happy with that. And that's going to attract the person that's going to be into that, right? And one would think that would treat you right, versus like you pretending to be someone that you're not. You're going to attract people who are into that, whatever you're pretending to be. And once you reveal who you are, those people are not going to like you anymore, because they're going to be like, yo, that's not who you are. Right? So I think that it's just saying that it's easier to just be yourself, because even if being yourself means that you have to be alone for a little bit longer, it's better than wasting time and energy and love on someone who's not right for you. Number 7, you aren't clear on your intentions about what you want, and that's because you're still trying to edit and enhance them to appease, impress, or elicit someone else's approval. In other words, you can't be honest about what you want because you aren't comfortable with the truth of who you are. So long as you are functioning from that mindset, you are filtering your life, and whether or not you see the love in it through how well it fits the image. So I think for me, that was one of the ones that I read where I was like, okay, I definitely want to talk about this in an episode, because a lot of the times it's hard when you are clear on your intentions. Like you say, okay, I want to be in a committed relationship. But if you keep coming across people who don't want the same thing, it can become discouraging. And then you can kind of start to edit like, oh, you know what? Maybe I do want a relationship, but I'm open to just dating or just getting to know someone, right? And then you start doing things like that and editing, and then it's like when you do that, you do start to change who you are, because then you're settling for things and you're compromising to do things and present yourself in a way that you aren't, right? Because at least for me, an example of that is like if you say that you want a relationship, but then you keep coming across people who just want to go with the flow or just date and have these situationships or hookups, and say like you kind of get to your part where you keep saying no, and then you finally give in, right? And then when you do that, though, you have to keep up the image, which is like you can't have feelings for the person, you can't express feelings for the person, you just kind of, it's only a sexual thing, and you don't really get to say anything about their actions, and you can't really express yourself on how you feel, and so you have all these restrictions, and then it's like you're not happy in the actions that you're doing, it's always like temporary happiness, and you're not connected to this person because you're not allowed to really have any connections or ties with them. So it's like you settle and you end up being uncomfortable and being in this image that is not you. Whereas if you had just stayed your loving self, that person it sucks. That person might not be the right person, but then you can just keep going, right? Kind of like what I was talking about the last episode when I was saying how that girl on TikTok was saying, like, if you knew that you were guaranteed to get this, you are going to get the love that you want, but you have to just keep going through a certain amount of rejection letters. You would be happy when the person says, oh, I'm not looking for that, because you're like, okay, good. I'm on rejection number 17. I only have 30 to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of just like, you will breeze through it faster, and you will be like, all right, cool. You're not for me. Bye. Not maybe in a rude way, but like, all right. Well, it was nice meeting you. Thanks for the company, but you're not it. Bye. You keep going, right? So you have to kind of operate in that way. That's what it's saying. Is like, when you have clear intentions, you don't allow other people to persuade what it is that you're trying to get. Number 8, you blame others because you don't realize that every relationship you have is with yourself. Love does not suck. People do not suck. You suck. Relationships are the ultimate teaching tools, the most intense healing opportunities, the most explosively beautiful chances for us to really see what is unresolved within us. You run into the same problems, you find the same faults, the same relationships, the same pain, because it is all in you. So, yeah, I mean, love is a mirror. Usually, similar to what, not the last episode, but the episode before that, when Bianca was talking about love, twin flames, and how, karmic love cycles, and how your partner or the person can mirror a lot of the similar things. You guys can trauma bond, right? And so a lot of the times love, it will highlight the things in you that need to be changed, and the things that usually you don't like about your partner are similar to the things that you don't like about yourself. So yeah, that's one thing too. Number 9, likewise, you do not realize that negative emotions are calls to heal, not to change or drown or ignore because you don't want to feel bad anymore. Our feelings are how we communicate with ourselves. Healing is essentially reopening to seeing good, to being hopeful, sustaining, and then creating more love. Our negative emotions are not signals of what other people are doing wrong. They are meant to show us how we are misnavigating, misunderstanding, or being controlled by past experiences and fear-based beliefs. I'm going to keep going just because of the sake of time. Number 10, you don't know how to use your heart and mind in tandem. The heart as the map and the mind as the compass. We're giving 2 opposing sets of commandments. Follow your heart regardless of logic, and don't do anything stupid and illogical when it comes to who you choose to share your life with. The reality is that so long as you are polarized in the utilization of the most important guiding tools you have, or worse, you don't realize you have them, you will be lost as hell. That's a technical term, by the way. A quick cheat sheet for you. The heart will tell you what, the mind will tell you how. Let them stay in their corners of expertise. The heart will tell you what, the mind will tell you how. I like that. Number 11, you have yet to honor the child inside you. If you want to know who you really are, imagine speaking to yourself as a child. What would you say and do to make them feel happy? That expression is reflective of what you really need to give yourself, and is very, very helpful for people who are seeking love. Because learning to love yourself is, as odd as it may sound, learning to honor, respect, love, and acknowledge the child in you, or in other words, your most essential self. I'm sure you guys have heard about your inner child work, and, who you are as a child shaped who you are now. Things that your love language was shaped by the love language that you didn't receive as a child, or that you did receive as a child that made you feel the most loved. So it's a lot of work of tapping back in, and that's why they say, like, do a lot of childlike things when you are feeling unloved, or you feel like you're missing out on something. When it comes to love, like, tap back into who you were as a child. to be able to love yourself and radiate and attract the right type of love again. Number 12, you want love to change your life. You want it to provide for you what you think you cannot give yourself: stability, security, hope, happiness. So as long as you function on this belief, you place love as being something that is outside of you, when the reality is that you cannot see, create, or experience on the outside what you are not already on the inside. Speaking of, number 13, you don't realize that what you love most about others is what you love most about yourself. The more you are open to your own joy, the more you appreciate others. The more you are healed of your own anxiety, the less you have to cast blame and try to fight others into fixing you. Loving someone else comes down to being able to see what you appreciate about them, as it is similar to what you appreciate about yourself. Number 14, you not only think that somebody else is responsible for fixing you, but that there is something wrong with them if they don't. And so you want to change, fix, or condemn them for how they've wronged you. You want to blame them for not being good enough. You want to impose on them a whole lot of what you really feel about yourself. So that's something that I've been learning too, is like, because I used to do that too, get mad at when things didn't work out. I would get mad and blame the other person. And a lot of times there were people who, exes and stuff like that, people that I dated, that would feel that I would only see the things in them, but I never saw the things in myself that I was doing. And sometimes I think that now I can think back to those relationships where there were things that were being highlighted within me, but it was easier for me to see them in them versus in myself. That's like a learning experience too. Just learning to see that you're not, perfect. And I never thought I was perfect, but it's just easier to blame someone else than to look in within and say, like, you're a part of the problem too. And number 15, you've forgotten kindness when kindness is the fabric of love. I don't think there are people crueler to one another more than people who really, really love each other. They see so much of themselves in one another that they simply cannot stand it and retaliate in all the same ways that they are rejecting themselves. The foundation of a happy relationship and love and life really is unconditional kindness. It's synonymous with love and maybe even more effective because it shows you the action as opposed to the feeling or expectation. Number 16, you were looking for the answer outside of the question. For the 10th time, say it with me now. The love you really want is your own. What you're seeking in someone else is what you aren't giving to yourself. What angers you is what you aren't accepting and healing. What gives you joy and hope is what you already have within you. Finding a relationship to be that great enhancer, to have someone to share everything with, begins with you. It's as though we were taught to love ourselves first without ever being told that loving yourself is giving yourself what you want someone else to. So, now that I've read all 16 of them, I do want to go back to a couple that I didn't get a chance to really dive into. I liked number 10, where it's saying, you don't know how to use your heart and mind in tandem, the heart as the map and the mind as the compass. I really like that because if you think about it, they always saying, like, when you're in love, don't forget to take your brain with you, and for it to say that the heart is the map, the way I take that is like your heart knows what you need and how to get there, right? So in the sense of when you meet people and you go on dates or whatever, or you start dating somebody, and your heart will know, like, you know what, this is a great person, but they're not for me, right? And I'm sure as people have experienced that before, where you're like, dang, this person has what I'm looking for, but they're not for me, right? And your mind is the compass. So that's the part that like determines that, like, all right, this ain't it, like this is a great person, but they're not it, right? And so actually, before I keep going with that, I'm gonna define what a compass is, just so people can know. So a compass is an instrument containing a magnetized pointer, which shows the direction of magnetic north end bearings from it. So it's like that little thing that helps you get around, and it's like it magnetized to tell you which way to go, right? And so keeping that in mind, your mind is the compass, right? So your mind is gonna gravitate to the right answer and the right direction for you, and your heart is the map. So how I'm taking it as your mind is going to be able to direct you on the map of where you need to be, right? And the heart is going to feel and show you the path to go, right? So with that part, when it says the heart will tell you what, the mind will tell you how, right? So the mind is telling you how to get there. The heart is telling you what it is that you're trying to get to and what it is that works for you, which is why you fall in love, and that's where you feel it in your heart and not in your mind, right? And you don't think in love, you fall in love, you feel love, you don't think it. And then another one I wanted to go back to was you want love to change your life. That's another one, like not trying to depend, like sometimes, and that's another experience that I've had, is like when you want love so bad and you do meet that person and stuff, or meet someone and you get in a relationship with them, you can unconsciously like put a lot of burdens on them to be everything for you, right? And so if you've ever felt that before, like, and if you've been in that experience where someone was really desperate for love and they kind of impose that responsibility on you, and so you're responsible for this person's happiness and all this stuff, and when you don't always make them happy or measure up to that, you start to feel like incompetent of yourself, and you start to question the relationship. And it's like, if you have to keep putting on this show or juggling or measuring up for this person, you're going to be draining yourself and you're not loving on yourself, right? And so sometimes that can happen from a place of insecurity and stuff like that. So you have to be conscious of, not making love the basis of your life and like the only thing that you focus on, because for one, when you lose it, you could potentially, your life crumbles, and two, when you've put so much pressure on that, it can eventually break and you're not being fair. Love is two people being a part of it. It's not just you waiting for this other person to make you happy. You got to make them happy too. And you got to make yourself happy first. And you got to show them how to make you happy. And then the other one I wanted to talk about. You've forgotten kindness when kindness is the fabric of love. So kindness and being kind to yourself. And like what it's saying, like when you really are in love with someone, a lot of times you're going to see a lot of yourself in them. And if you recognize that, but you reject them, or you're rejecting things about them, then you're rejecting yourself. And when you're not loving on yourself, you're not the best version of yourself. And so then you're not giving the best version of you to them. And it's like this cycle of abuse, because you're mistreating them, because you're seeing things in them that you see that are within yourself that need to be fixed. And so then you're not treating them right, but then you're also not treating yourself right, because you're not taking the time and the opportunity to recognize the things that you don't like about them is that thing that you need to work on within yourself. So it's this constant cycle of mistreatment, but no one's healing anything and no one's getting any better, and eventually potentially causing a breakage. And so just being kind to yourself and being kind to them. But then also, like the last one, it says you are looking for the answer outside of the question. So it's saying the love you really want is your own. And, it's not being, cliche or gimmicky when it's saying that what you're looking for outside of yourself is what you need to find within yourself. And it takes time, right? Because even when you say, like, when you hear that people say it takes time to fall in love and, like, take your time with it, it takes time to fall in love with you too, right? Because you still have to get to know who you are. And being in a relationship is great, and it can be one of the best experiences ever, but you have to love you. And the thing is like, the relationship with yourself, it should never end, because it can never, like, be the same. Like, you should be always evolving and growing, and so there's going to be new things that you learn about you, and it's going to take time, right? It's going to take time for you to figure out what you love about yourself, and what you do like, what you don't like, and your feelings, like understanding what your feelings are, understanding what makes you sad, what makes you happy, how you deal with those emotions. Like, all those things take time. So when it comes to love, you have to be patient with others, but you have to be patient with yourself too. And I think that when you learn to be patient with yourself and love on yourself, despite whatever you have going on, when you're in your good and your bad, then it does make it easier for you to treat someone else that way too, because you've experienced it and you know for one, it works, and for two, like, how to go about doing it. So I really hope that this was helpful, and that this resonates with someone. I think that it's great to talk about. It's a great topic to discuss, because love is not always perfect, and it's not always great. And we do, there are some people who luck out, and the first person they date or is the love of their life, right? But some of us, we have to keep going, and we have to go through more life experiences. It's pretty much what we signed up for. You have a purpose, and you have to fulfill that purpose, and there's a reason why you have certain relationships that work and don't work. There's a reason why you have desires within your heart, and when you know those desires, you just have to keep doing the work to fulfill them, and it will happen. And so love is a beautiful thing, but you don't need to be in a relationship with another person to be in love. You can be in love right now with yourself. You can be in love with your family. You can be in love with your life, right? And when you are in love with your life and in yourself and everything that you have going for yourself, you will not only attract the right person to do the same for you, but you are creating a space for that. Because when you don't love where you are, you don't love your life, you don't love yourself, you're not making space for anyone to love you, the love that you desire, because you are usually going to be like standoffish and just not in the best. You're not radiating, you're not attracting anything, you're repelling. If anything, you don't attract, you repel when you're in that state of mind. So I think it's best to try to, like it says, like, love yourself and just focus on loving on you and creating the life that you want to live, and then everything else will fall into place. So hopefully that was helpful. I hope that you guys have the great rest of your week. I will be releasing this episode probably tonight. I can do it tonight. And I still have the other episode that I just released too. So if you can, follow the podcast, rate and review. And as always, I'm your host, Chanel. This is Black Hippie Lounge. Meditate, manifest, invest in you, and love on you. Love on yourself, and enjoy the rest of your week. Meditate, manifest, invest in you. Join me on my spiritual journey as I elevate myself and like-minded listeners to a higher level, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for listening. This is Black Hippie Lounge, and I am your host, Chanel.